Thanks, Chair. I'm just going to share my screen. I'm Dean Harris from Homes England. Just bear with me. So this is just a quick update, really. I think Andrew's presentation was actually quite comprehensive and has covered some of the material I might have touched on, so I'll try and avoid duplication. Just wanted to share this illustrative master plan with everyone. We've produced this recently as part of our work on Northstowe Phase 3. So it is kind of bang up to date and gives a good impression of what Northstowe may look like when complete. It's important to say the plan is illustrative, so it's not a kind of tablet of stone, if you like, but it certainly gives a good idea of how the town will hopefully end up. I've just zoomed in here to the area around Rampton Drift so that you can see the relationship to Phase 1, to in-home or Phase 2A, the future town centre, as well as Phase 2B. Andrew mentioned Phase 2B, and this is a plan that shows where it is. So this is Homes England's next neighbourhood of homes proposed at Northstowe. It's shown in blue to the immediate south of Rampton Drift. We are currently selecting a development partner for this parcel. The parcel, we think, will accommodate around 300 homes, so slightly less than Phase 2A. The timescale is looking at planning sort of early to middle of next year and commencing development towards the end of 2021. I can't show you any detailed proposals for Phase 2B because they don't exist yet. I was going to talk about the town centre. Andrew's covered that. I think, save for the fact that Homes England has contributed to the new civic hub, an important early building in the town centre, and has paid a significant contribution towards that building, which the district council will be responsible for delivering. We hope those kinds of early aspects will be delivered from 2023. We've had a number of questions about Rampton Road, and the long-term plan is to convert Rampton Road into a greenway, a green route for pedestrians and cyclists. Access to Rampton Drift properties would need to be maintained at all times, and we want to emphasise that we will be speaking to residents about how that is done and achieved. This is an extract from a sort of early design code that shows a possible configuration of Rampton Road and how it might be remodelled, and there are proposals to reconfigure the access for Rampton Drift through the land to the north effectively, but this is illustrative and for further discussion. This is a rather complicated phasing plan. The point here is to say that we're building out Phase 2 in a vaguely clockwise manner, where we'll start over at the east of the site, work around the south and head up to the west and north. So in terms of any work to Rampton Drift, the timescale for that is a kind of 10-year type time span. So plenty of time to have those discussions and involve residents of Rampton Drift in the new access arrangement for Rampton Drift. In terms of the current infrastructure works, the work undertaken by CISC at the moment will come to an end next year, but in terms of Phase 2A, that will be much sooner. Within the next couple of months, CISC will cease pretty much all activity on that area next to Rampton Drift, save for some soft landscaping, which will be undertaken over the next 6 months or so. Andrew mentioned the new road, and that will be open by mid-2021 at the latest. So it will be open in plenty of time for new residents of in-home. This is an area that's being landscaped by CISC, part of the strategic greenway. It's between the bus-only route and Stirling Road, and involves a site of imaginative play. So this will be new green space that will be able to be accessed by residents of Phase 1, residents of in-home, and indeed residents of Rampton Drift in the locality. That concludes my presentation. I'm going to stop presenting, and happy to answer questions now or pick them up later.
Yes, Dean, actually, if you just keep your presentation up. So we've had some questions on how the vehicle access for Rampton Drift from Phase 2. So if you could just bring up that map and clarify.
Okay. I'll use two slides here, Chair, because I did already show the design code and the potential arrangement where there would be difficult.
Yeah, that's the existing road. So I think the question is on vehicle access in the future, obviously, when that becomes the Greenway.
Absolutely. So I wanted to point out that part of Rampton Road would be retained in this arrangement, because homes front Rampton Road with individual accesses, if you like. It's difficult to avoid a situation where, I don't know if you can see my pointer, but immediately above the red line that's shown here for Rampton Drift, there's a sort of white line, which is a retained section of road that would allow Rampton Drift residents to access along that frontage and then head north into the land kind of opposite, before then heading either sort of left or right to get to the primary road network. What I have is a couple of slides that, again, these are based on the illustrative master plan. It is illustrative. And there are a range of options. So I just wanted to show this to show how access could be configured. So you can see the orange line here heading across Rampton Road effectively, and then heading left towards what will become the second primary road for Northstowe. So that will kind of mirror Stirling Road on the east side, primary road on the western side. But it's important to emphasise that there are a number of options that are possible, even based just on this illustrative layout. There's a number of options. So as I mentioned in the presentation, absolutely want to involve local residents in kind of helping to formulate those proposals. We're not about to shut Rampton Road, anytime soon. We haven't got a plan up our sleeve where we're going to shut the road and just kind of do it at all. The impression I want to give is there's lots of time to resolve these kinds of issues and get a solution that works well for everyone. And so these are the kinds of options that can be considered as part of that discussion.
Great, thanks, Dean. We have had another question on timescale for the landscaping.
Okay, what I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen, because my colleague Philip Harker is in the meeting, and he may have more precise timings on this than I do. So I'm hoping, Philip, you're going to pick up.
Yeah, happy to do that, Dean. Essentially, CISC's hard works will be finished this year, this sort of calendar year predominantly. There may be some tie-in works completed down along the B1050 to tie in the roundabout there, but they'll continue to do landscaping works certainly this winter season. So this landscaping season will start to be planting up. So, for example, the Greenway, which starts just to the east of Rampton Road, so where Rampton Road now is sort of closed, and you can see there's the footpath that we've created to connect the end of Rampton Road to Stirling Road. The Greenway that we're going to create there, the hard works will be finished by the end of the calendar year. The landscaping works may continue through to sort of March, end of March next year, but we hope that all of that work will be concluded around March of next year.
Thank you. Just going back to the road access just briefly, so just to clarify, obviously, as things are happening iteratively Obviously, road access will always be available to Rantham Drift residents, and they will be notified when and if there'll be changes.
I think more than notified, they'll be engaged within the detailed design of how that will work to ensure that the solution is appropriate to all people that are going to be using and needing that access.
Okay. So, and Dean mentioned kind of consulting residents. So, can we assume that they'll to expect some working groups or some other invitations to kind of feedback on how they see that working?
Absolutely, but I think, as Dean mentioned, though, the sort of programme of when that's going to be happening is quite a few years away. So it's not something that we're envisaging kicking off now. So if we're looking at trying to sort of close that phase 2 development out in total in sort of 10 years. Each time, we'd be starting those engagements in sort of 8 years' time. So we've got the ability to have that proper engagement ahead of closing those works out. So it's not something which is going to be coming forward soon, and obviously all those timescales are subject to how the development goes and the progress that we're making. But I think the key thing is that we will engage early with all the residents to ensure that we find the right solution. Okay.
So I think one of the comments, and it did come up during our community governance review meetings, was that actually 10 years is quite a long timescale for Rampton Drift. So they would actually welcome being properly connected. Some people would welcome being connected potentially before then. That was a comment. So aside from the Greenway access, when will you actually be able to access Northstowe by road without having to go through Longstanton all the way around, effectively the southern access route west opening?
That's the same response, really. We don't close off and create access via Rampton Road until we actually finish those latter stages of the development out within phase 2. So as Dean had that slide up which showed the phasing, and that phasing, as Dean mentioned, was going in a clockwise direction. Currently, that phasing, which is agreed and approved with South Cambs planning, shows that is towards the sort of 8 to 10 year mark from where we are now.
Yeah, so I think the residents' concern obviously is that they are effectively surrounded by Northstowe, but won't have any access to it from a vehicle point of view, until for 10 years.
Councillor, I think it's true to say that in terms of vehicular access, that will take a while to come on stream, but there are opportunities to connect in terms of walking and cycling. And the closest parts of Northstowe that to be delivered, in that sort of next 5-6 years, are really within walking and cycling distance. So, I mean, it's an interesting point, but I think there will be opportunities for those connections, absolutely. But in the short term, they're more likely to be walking and cycling rather than driving.
Okay. So, sorry, John, there's a question. Will access to Stirling Road be maintained while the SIP is constructed? And the SIP is, sorry.
It's a site of imaginative play within the Greenway. That's
okay, thank
incorporated. So absolutely we'll maintain a pedestrian cycle access. Whether or not it'll be on the same alignment and route that is currently there, there may need to be, there are some other hard works that will be going on in that area, but we will maintain an access through. So whether or not that we need to put in temporary diversions while we create the final finished product, because what we did was we put that footpath in to enable the children to have a safe access route to school. So it is just a sort of a tarmac finished route at the moment. We've got a lot more creativity that we want to bring into that space. And so as part of that, we may need to do some temporary access works to enable us to finish off the Greenway as the design is intended.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. We don't have any more questions as of yet, but obviously if you have more, we'll bring you back on.